Hey there, Reverend Sully, Eric O'Sullivan, ordained on the internet. The caveat, as always, please do not burn your hands holding on to my hot takes. If you do, well, that's on you, pal. It's time for the Sci-Fi Book of the Week, and my choice is a new release. It's Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Andy Weir is the author of The Martian, which was made into a Ridley Scott movie a few years back. The movie was really good. The book, of course, is better. And this is a darn good cup of coffee. It's so science-based, and it's literally nerdy, and it was suggested to me by an actual nerd. There is a difference between a nerd and a geek. Please be aware of your words at all times. But thank you, Raquel Briggs, for turning me on to this book here. What impressed me the most about this book, which I read unabridged on audible.com, I had it read to me. I like hearing my stories. Was that it was fun, and it was entertaining, and it was made very recently, and it was not preachy. It literally showed and illustrated both sides, and at the same time, no sides of hypothetical arguments. It actually just went forward and told a good story. I'm not going to drop any spoilers because it's a mystery. It's about a guy waking up and figuring stuff out and slowly remembering things. As the book progresses, we are revealed more and more, and flashbacks, and it's a survival tale, kind of like The Martian was. It's about survival. It's about one person, one earthling's struggle against the odds and using what's available to him. And I don't want to get into spoilers, but I think I have to do one kind of revelation here. It's about the Earth, and the sun is dying, and it's about humanity's Hail Mary throw. Hail Mary is it's a sports reference. It's about a throw, and it's about saying a prayer and making your launch, and that the proof of the pudding being on the plate is that it's caught. And for me, I guess my reference point of the Hail Mary would be the Boston College football game with quarterback Doug Flutie making the Hail Mary pass that is caught and given the touchdown, which wins the game. So it's unfortunately it's problematic with being Christian centric and American sport centric. Fuck that shit. Sorry. But that's where Hail Mary comes from. It's a saving pass. It's a last ditch. You close your eyes and you say a prayer. I mean, it's so. I think it's great because it invokes a deity while it's all science based. And but here comes the spoiler part. While our protagonist is searching for a solution to the sun's problem, he finds alien life who is looking for the same solution to their star's problem. And it becomes this amazing buddy tale. And it's the source, it was the source of literally several leap out loud and cheer moments for me reading this book. I mean, when was the last time a book or a fiction made you laugh out loud and cheer along and root along with it? This book had me going like that several times. And it was just a breath of fresh air to be reminded about the aspirational, the inspirational, the power of fiction, the power of story, and just how a well-told story, a well-crafted tale by a professional storyteller can make you feel good. And it had an environmental message, and it had a social message too, but it wasn't preachy. It didn't bash you over the head with one side or the other. It was as is, a part and parcel of it. And it reminded me of this 80s movie, sci-fi movie called Enemy Mine, that had Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr. as enemies, a human and an alien enemy. And they were stranded on a planet together, and they had to get along and get past their differences in order to survive. And I'm not saying that there's a conflict between the alien and the human here, but I will say that it's a great story of learning how to communicate together, of learning how to coexist in each other's environment, and ultimately about friendship. And how I was just blessed and very grateful to read this book about different, not just different people, but different species coming together and to solve their similar problems, and to become friends and very dear loved ones to each other, and how they save each other over and over again. It was great. It was a great ride, and it's worth the read. It's Project Hail Mary. It's a new release by sci-fi writer Andy Weir, and it could be worth your time. Do you like sci-fi? Do you like survival tales? Do you want some fun and entertainment back into your fiction? Here it is. This deserves. Hopefully it's going to get a movie made out of it, and that's all I got to say. The ending of the book was great. I love it when a book can land, when there's a great ending. I was comparing this recently. I was talking sci-fi books with a couple of very close friends, and Snow Crash came up. I haven't read Snow Crash yet, but I have read a few Neil Stephenson's books, like Ream D, and specifically Seven Eves. And I was like, Seven Eves is a really good sci-fi book. It's harrowing. It's a survival tale, yet the last few pages, it ends so flat-footedly. And they were like, yeah, how can this be a good suggestion? I'm like, well, it's a suggestion all the same. Just, there's your caveat. It's going to land a little flat. But, and then they brought up Stephen King. Like, well, here's how about Under the Dome? And how about a lot of Stephen King's books? You have this great story, and then it just ends so flat-footedly. And I'm like, oh, you got me there, too. That's a good one. But Project Hail Mary ends strong and ends unexpectedly. And it ends with a note of happiness. And it's a setup and a payoff. And it just, what a nice story. And it's worth your time, and it's worth the money. I bought mine with my Audible subscription. It's a new release, and there is good fiction out there. There really is. I enjoy reading the new sci-fi books of the 21st century. And if it's good, at least. But well, that's all I got for today. Give me a thumbs up if you like this kind of content. Give me a thumbs down if you didn't like this. If you hated Andy Weir's book, let me know in the comments section. Let's continue this conversation. And also, give me a subscribe if you can. I make spiritual videos. I'm an ordained minister and an amateur theologian, and I'm also a professional chef. I want to give you cooking hacks to make so you can make beautiful, delicious, nutritious food at home for you to share with your loved ones. So, and if you do, send some pictures my way. I'm really interested to see what you got going on and what you got cooking. And, well, that's all I got for today. It's this week's Sci-Fi Book of the Week. It's Andy Weir's Project Hail Mary. And thank you, Raquel Briggs, for turning me on to this wonderful book. It was a page turner, for an audiobook, but I could not wait to get back to my book. And it's been a while since I've read a book like that makes me want to, oh, I'm so looking forward to getting back into my book and into my headspace. It was a good time. And hopefully you read this book too. So thank you so very much. Namaste. God bless. And read a book and send me some of your suggestions too. Cheers.